The Galactic Council meeting chamber fell silent as the emergency broadcast lit up every screen. The feed showed a Thoraxian battle cruiser, one of the most advanced warships in the known universe, being torn apart by a mysterious new threat. The ship's crystalline hull, capable of withstanding direct hits from plasma cannons, cracked like thin ice. Within minutes, the mighty vessel was reduced to floating debris. "By the first star," whispered High Counselor Zixia, her bioluminescent tendrils dimming with fear. What species could do this? The answer came from an unexpected source. Junior xenobiologist Krell, a newly appointed member of the Council's research division, cleared his throat. "Actually, High Counselor, those are humans." The chamber erupted in confused murmurs. Humans were a Class 3 civilization, barely spacefaring. They hadn't even colonized their own solar system yet. How could they possibly defeat a Thoraxian cruiser? But Krell wasn't finished. "And I believe they might be exactly what we need right now." 3 cycles earlier, I had been studying humans in secret. My colleagues thought I was wasting my time on an insignificant species. But something about these beings fascinated me. They were so contradictory. Humans were classified as endurance predators, yet they spent most of their time creating art and music. Their bodies were relatively fragile compared to other spacefaring races, but they had an almost supernatural ability to survive injuries that would kill most species. They were emotional, irrational, and impulsive, yet these traits led them to some of the most innovative solutions I'd ever seen. The more I studied them, the more I realized humans weren't just another species. They were space orcs. In galactic literature, orcs were mythical beings of incredible resilience and strength, driven by powerful emotions and an unbreakable will to survive. Most species considered them purely fictional, a cautionary tale about the dangers of embracing one's primitive nature. But humans? They lived up to every aspect of the legend. Take their physical capabilities. Humans could break their bones and keep fighting. They could lose significant amounts of blood and continue running. Their bodies could literally repair damaged tissue while they remained conscious and active, a process they casually called healing. To most galactic species, this was nothing short of terrifying. But what truly made them space orcs wasn't their physical resilience. It was their minds. "High Counselor," I continued, my voice stronger now as I addressed the chamber. "The Thoraxians aren't just attacking random ships. They're systematically targeting medical vessels and civilian transports. They're trying to break our spirits." The council members shifted uncomfortably. The Thoraxians, a species that had evolved from crystal-based life forms, viewed organic life as inherently inferior. Their recent attacks weren't just about territorial expansion, they were about extermination. "And how exactly would humans help us?" asked Sub-Counselor Venn, his metallic scales reflecting the emergency lights. "They don't have our technology. They don't have our numbers. They don't even have unified planetary governance." I activated my holoprojector, showing footage from Earth's history. "They don't need any of that. Humans have something far more valuable. They're impossible to break." The images played out. Humans surviving in extreme environments, recovering from devastating injuries, and rebuilding cities after natural disasters. But more importantly, humans help each other, protecting the weak and fighting against overwhelming odds for causes they believe in. In human history, I explained, there are countless examples of small groups defeating technologically superior forces through sheer determination and innovative thinking. They call it guerrilla warfare, and they've perfected it over thousands of years. I switched to more recent footage, the battle we'd just witnessed. The Thoraxians attacked a human medical transport, believing it would be an easy target. They didn't expect the humans to ram their ship directly into the cruiser's crystal matrix, creating a resonance frequency that shattered their hull. "They sacrificed themselves?" Zixia asked, horrified. No, High Counselor. They survived. I played the rest of the footage, showing the human ship's escape pods being retrieved. Their captain called it a calculated risk. They knew their ship would be destroyed, but they also knew they could survive it. To quote their transmission, "We can grow new skin. They can't grow new ships." The chamber erupted in shocked discussions. In all of galactic history, no species had ever considered such a tactic. It was too risky, too painful, too primitive. But that was exactly why we needed humans. 6 cycles later, the war against the Thoraxians had taken an unexpected turn. Humanity's introduction to the Galactic Council had been fast-tracked, and their military advisors had completely transformed our strategy. Instead of trying to match the Thoraxians' superior technology, humans taught us to use our differences as advantages. They showed us how to turn our organic nature, what the Thoraxians saw as our greatest weakness, into our greatest strength. "Crystal can't adapt," explained Human Admiral Chen at a strategic briefing. "Crystal can't heal. Crystal can't learn from failure. But we can." The humans introduced concepts that seemed insane to most Council species: hit-and-run tactics, psychological warfare, and something they called controlled chaos. They taught our medical ships to disguise themselves as cargo vessels, our civilian transports to carry emergency weapons, and our diplomatic corps to spread rumors that organic life forms could somehow infect crystal structures. But most importantly, they taught us how to be resilient. When the Thoraxians destroyed a colony, we no longer retreated in grief. Instead, we rebuilt, stronger than before, just as humans had done countless times on Earth. When they shattered our ships, we adapted our designs, learning from each failure. We became, in human terms, harder to kill. The turning point came during the Battle of the Centauri Drift. The Thoraxians had cornered our fleet, confident in their superior numbers and technology. But instead of fighting ship to ship as expected, the humans launched what they called a crazy-enough-to-work plan. They had discovered that the crystal-based Thoraxian ships were vulnerable to certain sound frequencies, not enough to destroy them, but enough to cause discomfort to their crews. So they broadcast human music, specifically something called death metal, across all frequencies. The Thoraxian fleet, faced with what they called organic audio warfare, broke formation. In the confusion, our ships targeted their previously identified structural weaknesses. Within hours, the mighty Thoraxian armada was in retreat. Today, 10 cycles after humans joined the Galactic Council, the universe is a very different place. The Thoraxians have signed a peace treaty, largely because they're genuinely confused and somewhat terrified by human unpredictability. As their ambassador admitted, "How can we fight an enemy that views their own physical damage as a temporary inconvenience?" Humans have spread throughout Council space, bringing with them their unique combination of resilience, innovation, and what they call controlled insanity. They've established mixed species colonies, introduced the concept of extreme sports to horrified alien audiences, and somehow convinced several Council races that keeping dangerous Earth animals as pets is perfectly normal. But perhaps most importantly, they've taught us that being primitive isn't always a weakness. Sometimes the ability to embrace one's basic nature, to fight, to survive, to protect others at any cost, is exactly what a civilization needs to thrive. In my latest report to the Council, I included a quote from a human historical figure named Churchill: "We shall never surrender." At the time, I thought it was just another example of human stubbornness. Now I understand it's much more than that. It's a promise. A promise that no matter how advanced our technology becomes, no matter how civilized we think we are, sometimes we need to remember our roots. Sometimes we need to be a little bit primitive, a little bit brutal, a little bit orc-like. And thanks to humans, we finally understand why. As I finish this account, I can hear human laughter echoing through the council station's corridors. They're probably doing something that defies both logic and several safety protocols. And for the first time in my life, that thought doesn't worry me. Because sometimes the universe doesn't need another enlightened, advanced civilization. Sometimes it needs space orcs. And humans? They're the best space orcs we could have hoped for.